Sabah al-khair. Right now we're going to talk about derived Arabic verb form 4, or what we would call in Arabic Wazn af'ala. In terms of how we put together a form 4 verb, we take the meaningful judr and then we add a couple of things to it. In the past tense, we would add an alif with a hamza and a fatha on it, and then a sukoon on the first letter of the judr, and then 2 fathas over the remaining letters of the root. So the judr sad, ba, ha, which has to do with mornings, actually turns into a verb for becoming. A very normal verb for become is a form 4 verb. Asbaha in the past tense. And then in the present tense, we add a dhamma to that first letter that's helping us conjugate, and then a kasra to the middle letter of the root. So asbaha, he became. In the present tense, yusbih. Remember that like all the other derived forms, 2 through 10, this pattern is very, very, very regular. We aren't really going to encounter much in the way of strange exceptions. All form 4 verbs are going to have this vowel pattern. Form 4, in terms of the meaning, the nuance of meaning that it gives our judr, it overlaps a little bit with form 2. If you read about form 2, Wazn fa'ala, or if you watch the video about that form, it at its most basic usually has the core meaning of making someone or something do form 1. Asbaha yusbih is a particularly tenuous example. I'm not sure. Making someone morning, making someone become. Sometimes the logic is a little more poetic than solid. But a couple of examples that might be relevant. We have a judr kaf, mim, lam that has to do with being finished or complete. And in form 4, we have a very handy verb. In the past tense, akmala. Present tense, yukmil, which means finish. So in formal Arabic, I might say, wow, I really need to finish my homework. Yajib an ukmil wajibi. Before I go to the party, or whatever. Another example that might come in handy, we have a judr sad lam ha, which has to do with being correct or proper or suitable. And in form 4, it's a verb that means repair. In the past tense, aslaha, following that same exact vowel pattern. Present tense, yuslih. All of these verbs are conjugated for huwa because that's just convention in Arabic. So I could say in formal Arabic, my aunt fixed my father's car. Hiya أصلحت خالتي سيارة والدي. In formal Arabic, we tend to put the verb first. So أصلحت خالتي, my aunt fixed the car of my father. أصلحت خالتي سيارة والدي. You tend to see form 4 verbs more in formal contexts, often written contexts, and very frequently in speech people will instead use fairly synonymous Form 2 verbs, verbs that mean pretty much the same thing but that follow that Form 2 pattern instead. In both of these cases, أكمل أصلح, perfectly good Form 4 verbs. We could use them in writing, we could use them in speech, but it would be a little bit formal, and it would be more common in, say, Levantine or Egyptian Arabic to use a synonymous Form 2 verb. If I wanted to rephrase this same sentence, I would probably play with the word order a little bit, but I could say خالتي صلحت سيارة أبي, or something like that. So we put the khala first because word order tends to work that way in Egyptian or Levantine colloquial. And instead of aslahat with that alif at the beginning in the past tense, we've changed it to a Form 2 verb, sallahat. Or I could say, wow, I have to finish my homework. لازم أكمل واجبي. And in these cases, our sentences in Fusha, formal Arabic, and a more vernacular, spoken kind of register would be pretty much synonymous, even though I was using ukammil instead of ukmil or sallahat instead of aslahat. We do have to watch out though, there are some circumstances where it doesn't work. For example, we have the verb يعلم in the present tense, يعلم, Form 2, which means to teach, to educate, to instruct, like what a teacher does at a school or a college. And in Form 4, it has a more specific shade of meaning. If I said يعلم, following that same Form 4 vowel pattern, right? يعلم, dhamma here, kasra there. يعلم is more like educate, whereas يعلم would be more like inform. It's a subtle distinction, but one that is potentially important and could change the meaning of what you're trying to say. As always, in a case like that, if you encounter a verb that's in a particular form, if you hear it or if you read it, context is going to be the best guide.